So today I really wanted to sit down and film a video that I've been wanting to make for a while, talking about my personal views on a very particular topic. At first I tried scripting this video and then I realized that honestly what works for me at the end of the day is just sitting down, turning my camera on and talking. So today I want to dive into my struggle with religion and where I am now in my journey of religion and spirituality. I've wanted to make this video for a while because I feel like a lot of people can relate to it, people who are my age, slightly older, slightly younger. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get right into it and start talking about my story. So I was born and raised in the Jewish faith. I feel like I've talked about that a little bit on my channel. I was bat mitzvahed, I was confirmed, which happens when you complete your Sunday school education at around 15 years old. My mom was born and raised in the Jewish faith as well. My dad was not, however, he was really cool with my mom wanting to raise both me and my sister in the Jewish faith. And so when I was really little, I got my Jewish name and we did that whole naming ceremony, and then as soon as I can remember, I started going to Sunday school and I started, going to services and everything like that. Now I do want to say that I was raised in the Reformed Judaism category, if you will. There's a huge spectrum of Judaism as there is with any religion. Reformed Judaism is the most lax, if you will. You're really allowed to question, which I think is something that is really, really groundbreaking and very, very cool. It's certainly not as strict. They don't demand that you follow a kosher diet or anything like that. So I did really like that in the sense that it was a bit more of a relaxed environment. So I want to say I started going to Sunday school and kids services when I was around 3 years old, and I was also enrolled in the children's choir at my temple. But then I remember probably around, I want to say 9 or 10, I was sitting in my Sunday school class one day and I just realized that I had a lot of questions. Questions that, even though my temple was really big on asking and questioning, that I didn't feel comfortable talking about. Because they weren't questions that had to do with what does this mean in the Torah? Or I know that it says this, but do we have to do this? They were bigger questions what if I don't identify with the religion that I've been placed under? What if I don't believe that there's a God that determines how I live my life? Or what if I don't believe in the power of praying to a God? And I remember having all of these questions, and they only got stronger as I got older. And I remember I never asked anyone at my Sunday school or any of my teachers or my rabbis about the questions that I was having, but I remember I did bring it up to my mom once, and I was like, what if I don't believe in God? Why do I have to keep going to this Sunday school? I know that you identify with Judaism, but why can't I kind of, travel my own path and figure out what I identify with? And I always remember my mom would get very frustrated and not mad at me, but she would just be like, well, you can do that when you're 18. With the whole thing about, is there a God? She'd be like, well, that's the great thing, is you never really stop kind of questioning sometimes. And for me, that was just a really frustrating answer. So I continued to go to Sunday school. I was bat mitzvahed, and I was really hoping that after that, I did that to please my mom and my parents, but I was really hoping that after that I would finally be able to make my own decisions as to whether or not I wanted to continue my Sunday school education. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that decision for myself. I was not forced, but I was told that I had to continue going to Sunday school until I was able to get confirmed at 15 years old. So I still had 2 years of Sunday school after my bat mitzvah, which just seems so daunting to me. Not because I'm not a fan of education or because I didn't like the people that were there, but just because at that point, I had really formulated my own thoughts. By the time you're 13, 14, you have your own opinions on things. You are really just becoming your own authentic self, and my questioning religion only became stronger. I would sit and I'd listen to these sermons and I'd listen to these stories and I'd listen to these prayers, and I would just sit back and realize that I didn't identify with any of it. I think the biggest issue for me was the fact that I really personally, and I don't want to start an argument in this video, I don't want to start an argument in the comment section. This video is literally just to share my personal story. I think the biggest issue for me was that I truly, and still to this day, really don't believe that there is a God. I don't believe in the idea that there is this like ultimate being that kind of determines the outcome of my life. I believe in the power of the universe, and I believe that there are a lot of energies around us. I believe that everything happens for a reason, but I don't believe that's because God put his hand in the mix. And so after really like sitting with myself and kind of figuring out like, well, I think this, but I don't think this, I agree with this, I don't agree with this, I kind of realized that I really wasn't a religious person at all. And in fact, I was maybe just a slightly spiritual person. You know, I believe in the power of positive thinking. I believe in the power of doing good. Like I said, I believe in the fact that everything happens for a reason, even if you never figure out what that reason is, but I don't believe that that's because God made it so. And so after I was confirmed at 15, then not only my parents, but like my rabbis gave this big speech about how now it's your job to continue your Jewish education and to decide whether or not you want to continue it. And for me, I just knew that I didn't identify with anything, and the little things that I could maybe connect to, I didn't connect to enough to want to continue like diving into it. So I stopped going to my temple. I stopped observing like the high holy days. When it came to like those days at school, I decided to go to school instead of going to services. And I want to make it very clear that this wasn't like to rebel or anything or to make like my family angry. It was simply just because now it was my choice, and I decided that it really just wasn't for me. And to this day, religion just really for me is not my thing. There are times where I'm definitely envious of those who have an attachment to their religion. I think that religion is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I think the main thing for me was I was told at such a young age that I had to continuously go to this like program every single week that I didn't really identify with. And it kind of turned me away from ever wanting to engage in a religious community, if that makes any sense. I think also, you know, I'm a very independent person. I really believe in like making my own path and creating doors that will open for me. And I don't really believe in the idea that everything is already like preconceived, if that makes any sense. And so because of that, I just don't really feel like my thoughts and ideals really go with any religion. Honestly, I can really say that I'm a lot happier now that I'm not being forced to like continue my Sunday school education, just because like because I didn't identify with it at all. It wasn't really like, oh great, I'm so excited to go to temple Sunday morning. It was more like, oh geez, I have to get up and go and be in an environment where I just don't feel like I belong. And after I was confirmed, you know, I did a little bit of like searching myself, and I went to a couple other like religious houses, if you will, and kind of tried to see if there was any other religion that really spoke to me. And in all honesty, nothing really did. Like I said, I still think that religion can be and is a beautiful thing. However, it's just not my particular thing. And so I really wanted to make this video for those that are kind of in a similar situation as to what I was in a few years ago, and just say that it is totally okay to not identify with something that maybe you were told you had to, or you know, kind of put into. It's okay to not identify with the same like ideals and beliefs that your parents do, because you are your own person and you have your own thoughts and you have the freedom to find what you do identify with. And as far as those who are wondering, like, you know, well, you were raised Jewish and now you don't go to temples, so what do you identify as? My answer is, I identify as a spiritual person. However, that does not mean that I ignore my heritage and my ancestry and where I come from. So what I often like to tell people is, you know, yes, I was like raised in the Jewish faith. However, now I am not religious. I'm spiritual in a sense, but I am not religious at all. I don't really identify with a religion. However, I still acknowledge that I come from a Jewish background, and so to like try and make jokes about it in front of me or disrespect that religion is so not okay with me. Because I think a lot of people assume that because I don't necessarily identify as Jewish anymore, that it's okay to like make jokes around me, or, you know, think that I don't take it seriously, or that I'm like, you know, resentful towards Judaism, which is totally not the case. That is my story. I hope some of you guys enjoyed this. If you didn't, keep the comments to yourself. I want to keep this a very positive, open dialogue. Like I said, don't want to create drama or conflict or arguments in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video and you have any additional thoughts, questions, comments, please do leave them in the comments down below and I'll be sure to answer every single one of them. Please subscribe and help me grow the Ruby Rocks the World family. It would mean the absolute world to me. Follow me on all my social media networks. Links are always in the down bar below. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, night, afternoon, whenever you all are watching this video, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Okay? Bye everybody.